Schmooze for 5 minutes.
Greetings, Facebook Nation. Marc David here, founder of the Institute for the Psychology of Eating. This is me getting on spontaneously on a beautiful Sunday here in Colorado for a Facebook Live. And I am going to talk about, some of the secrets and the secret power and the hidden power and the surprising power of our story, of our healing story, of our healing transformational journey. So do me this favor. Say hi in the comments section below. Let me know where you're from, where you're tuning in from, and what you're up to on a beautiful Sunday while we are here talking about. I like to have conversations that matter, by the way. That's where I'm coming from. So I want to spend our time together in a way that, hopefully serves us both and helps us deepen into so many of the things in life, in health, in all of who we are as human beings, that really helps us feel better about who we are and helps us express better in the world. So I'm going to just wait a few minutes for people to jump on. So we're going to schmooze for a little bit. And again, in the comments section below, say hi, give us some hearts, let me know where you're from, tell me what you're up to on a Sunday. We are going to talk about the surprising power of our healing journey. Hello, Diana from Chicago. Glad you're here. I appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate you being here. And anybody else, feel free to say hi. Feel free to join the conversation. Feel free to raise your hand and say, I'm here. Let me know where you're from, what you're up to on a Sunday. Before we officially dive in, I just want to let you know I am absolutely fascinated. Hello, Kathleen. How you doing? Glad you're here. Really appreciate you tuning in. Hey, Terry. How's it going from Pennsylvania? Kathleen, is it nighttime for you in Australia? Or maybe it's the next day. I never understand these things. So I am a big believer in story. I'm a big fan of our story because our story is kind of all we have. At the end of the day, when we're on our deathbed, you have a story, you've been on a journey, and people, they're going to get your things, maybe they'll get your money. Hey, Melissa from LA, hey, Belinda from Mexico, and Kayla's here. Glad you guys are here. Thank you so much, ladies, for showing up. So at the end of the day, when we're on our deathbed, what do we have? We have the story that we leave behind. So people might have our things, they might have our money. They're going to remember the moments. They're going to remember who we were to them. They are going to remember how we made them feel. They are going to remember these little snippets about us, just like you remember things about people. Hello, Paulina Ruiz. Glad you're here. Glad you're all here. And I'm still waiting for people to pop on before I officially dive into this conversation about the hidden power of our healing journey and our healing story. So again, if you're tuning in, you're coming in, Marc David, founder of the Institute for the Psychology of Eating. Glad you're here. Say hi in the comments section below. Let me know where you're from, what you're up to on a Sunday. Feel free to give some likes and loves so I know you're hearing me and I know this is coming through loud and clear. So isn't it interesting how when we're kids, one of the most sort of powerful and looked forward to moments is when somebody tells us a story, once upon a time. So that's a powerful moment in the life of a child. And if you notice, we learn through stories. So many of the sacred books of our religions, they're stories. So much of what you're taught when you're young, it's stories. Hello, Tracy. Hey, Tiffany. Glad you're here. So we're always hearing about stories. I want to share a story with you today. And this is a story that's near and dear to me. And it's about a transformational journey. And it's about my father. And it's about his journey with cancer. And, the cancer journey doesn't always end up with a big victory at the end. And I want to tell you in advance, my dad died way back in 1987 of cancer. Here's what happened. And it's kind of an interesting ending. And in a way, I want to say it's a good ending. And you're going to hear why. So one day I get a phone call. My dad had a seizure. He was taken to the hospital. And it turns out he has a brain tumor that big, just about the size of a fist. It's growing in his head. Hello, Jenny. Hello, Charlotte. Love the story of the hero's journey. Yeah, you know, we're all heroes, we're all heroines. And this is one such tale. So, my dad has a tumor, grade 4 or 5, I forget which one, astrocytoma. It's growing in his brain. It's 2 months to live. So, that's what the doctors say. So, I'm living in California. I just graduated graduate school in psychology. I studied eating psychology. I'm now teaching at the school that I used to learn at. I'm seeing clients on the side, and I have to move back to the East Coast because I want to be with my dad for the last 2 months of his life. Now, here's what's interesting. I never had such a great relationship with my father. We kind of clashed. My dad was a quiet guy. He had an intensity to him. I didn't know who he was. My dad worked hard. He worked hard. He was working 60, 70, 80 hours a week just to put his kids through college, through grad school. And then on top of that, he was going to school in the evening for many years of my life to get his college education, to get his chiropractic degree. So now here's my father, and he's dying, and I'm like 25, 26, 27 years old. I don't even know who he is. What's interesting, though, when you have a brain tumor, it affects your brain. And it affects it in interesting ways. And one of the ways it affected him was it loosened his tongue a little bit. And literally, my dad went from this quiet, intense, brooding, powerful human who I didn't know who he was. I just kind of always thought he didn't like me. And all of a sudden, he's sharing and he's talking. And I hear these stories about his life that I had no idea he had gone through. He told me a story, and he started crying, by the way. I'd never seen my father cry. He was crying every day. So his emotions got loosened up. His words got loosened up. And everything that was inside him literally started to come out. He was talking so much. When we were all sleeping, he would be sitting with a tape recorder, talking into the tape recorder. In a way, my friends, he had a backlog of words. How many of us have that, a backlog of words? Some words are just kind of wanting to come out of us, and we just keep them in. So all of a sudden, he couldn't hold back his words. He told me a story that shocked my mind. He said to me that ever since he was 14, 15 years old during World War II, he was helping raise money to fly refugees out of Europe. Specifically, he was raising money through his temple to help Jews fly out of Europe so they can be saved and protected. And he had raised the most money in his school. And his principal called him in to congratulate him. And the principal called him in to congratulate him. The principal said something interesting to my father. He said, "Congratulations on helping us save Orthodox Jews out of Europe." And my dad said, "Well, I thought we were saving all Jews and other people as well. You said this was not just for Orthodox people, not just for religious people, and not even just for Jewish people. It's for anyone who needed it." So he gets into an argument with his principal. The principal didn't take that nicely. And in that moment, my father said, he just put a curse on me. He literally said a curse, and that you're going to be miserable for the rest of your life. And whatever he said, that to this 15-year-old young man landed in his nervous system. My father now said, here he is, 55 years old, with a brain tumor in his head. He has 2 months to live. And he said to me, "Marc, I have felt my whole life that I'm a cosmic criminal, that I'm running from the law somehow, that I've done something wrong. And I'm looking back on it now and realizing, wait a second, I did the right thing." So his whole life, he's living a story as if he's a bad guy. And now all of a sudden, he's able to share this information. He's able to get feedback. He's able to digest it in a different way. He's able to process it. Now check this out. The doctor had given him 2 months to live. All of a sudden, he decides, I want to live. Now I'm going to tell you that 2 months turned into 4 years. The doctors considered it a medical impossibility. What he did was, and all of a sudden we started connecting. Now, I want to pause for a second. There's more to the story, but I want you to notice something. And we talk about this in our Eating Psychology Coach Certification training, by the way. This is how we train our practitioners to understand that my illness, my eating challenge, my health issue, actually doesn't just belong to me. it belongs to my family. It might belong to my partner as well. It belongs to the world. It belongs to our solar system, meaning the people who circulate around us. So here my father has this brain tumor, and what I'm trying to say is it wasn't even his brain tumor, because that brain tumor changed my life for the better, changed my sister's life, it changed my mother's life. It marshaled the forces of all our friends and all our relatives. And all of a sudden, everybody was showing up to offer kindness, to offer prayers. My father was not a religious man at all. And all of a sudden, he wanted to learn how to pray. He's asking his friends who were praying, how do I do this? So he's connecting all of a sudden. And he connected with his brothers more, with his family more, with his wife, my mom, more. And that brain tumor, in this strange way, was this amazing healing for me and my father, for all of us. And in that process, he turned to me and he said, you know, I know you're so passionate about nutrition and health and all that sort of stuff. He said to me, you know, I really want you to help me. I really want you to tell me what you know and tell me what you think I should do. So all of a sudden, I had this huge information and this huge new kind of road to walk down with him. So I helped him choose a diet. I helped him find holistic doctors. I helped him find holistic cancer doctors. And he was able to interview them, talk to them, pick out the strategy that he needed. Jen Richard just said, oh, wow, I just had a huge light bulb moment. Feel free to share. And I'm going to, and towards the end, in a few, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, you know, I might ask you for a personal sharing here. So my dad, all of a sudden, is connecting us all. And he is feeling more empowered. And like I said, those 2 months to live turned into 4 years. And in that time, I want to say on a certain level, I became a man because I was able to talk to my father honestly for the first time. He was talking to me honestly for the first time. We were expressing our hurts, our disappointments, our angers. It was happening all the way around. Hi, Connie. Thanks for reaching out. And, you know, the amazing thing about it is that we were in love now. We were in connection now. So it was less about beating this beast down called cancer, even though that's what we're trying to do, and we're trying to do it in the best way we know how. But now we are all connected. So the beauty of our illnesses, the beauty of our health challenges, the beauty of our eating challenges is that it can connect us all, and it can bring us together, because his brain tumor, in a weird way, had as much to teach me personally as it did to teach him. I saw where I closed off. I saw where I wasn't a very good son all the time. I saw where I had a lot to learn about how to relate to my elders. I saw where I wasn't appreciating him. So it was a very, very beautiful, powerful journey. Here's something interesting that happened along that journey. That brain tumor that was the size of a fist at one point completely disappeared. Now, I remember the look on his doctor's face. We had, I don't even remember his name, but it turns out the man who was my father's potential brain tumor surgeon, and it was an inoperable tumor, but they told us, well, you could take out some of it. So the surgeon who he was seeing, who was first helping him out with the chemotherapy, was the same brain surgeon that worked on President Kennedy when President Kennedy was shot. So here's this guy looking at the CAT scans of my dad's brain, and the tumor at one point had completely disappeared. And this was a shock. And, you know, in medical parlance, it's unexplainable. It's a miracle. Now, here's what happened. Once the brain tumor disappeared, I remember hanging out with my father, and I said, Dad, this is incredible. Congratulations. Like, you did it. And all these people have been supporting my father, all the diet he was doing, the natural therapies he was doing, the alternative therapies he was doing, the inner work he was doing, it worked. So I was in celebration, and I remember watching him, and he was troubled. There was something going on, and I couldn't quite understand it. And one night he said to me, I didn't even know this was going to happen. He said, I don't even know who I'm going to be now that I'm going to live. And I watched for weeks and weeks. He was under so much stress. And it's fascinating because weeks after his diagnosis of you're free and clear of a brain tumor that was supposed to kill you years ago, weeks after that, he has a heart attack, and he always had a healthy heart. And I remember sitting in the hospital with him. It was a mild heart attack, but it was enough to keep him in for a week. And the doctors are trying to figure out what's going on. Your heart was fine. And I said, Dad, I wonder. I just wonder, like, were you motivated because you wanted to live? Were you motivated because you had a fear of dying? And he couldn't answer the question. And I felt like, it was probably some of each because, who wants to die, really? It's fearsome. It's not fun. So clearly he wanted to live. But also, to me, there was another part that we often fight against our illness, and we fight against dying. And sometimes we have to fight. Because when your life is on the line, sometimes you got to fight. Sometimes life is calling us to fight for certain things. But at the same time, on a deeper level, what are we motivated by? So when you eat your healthy diet and when you're helping your dis-ease condition, are you doing it out of a love for life? And I want to feel good and I want to feel healthy, because when I feel healthy, I could be the real me. I could take all my energy and put that into my creativity, to my love, to the things that inspire me, to the things that I'm passionate about. Or am I just eating healthy food because I'm afraid to get sick and afraid to die and afraid to die like my parents or whatever the story is that we're telling ourselves. So I see this time and time again. It's something that we teach in our eating psychology coach certification training. Look what's motivating people to do the things that they do. Look what's inspiring them to do the things that they do. Are they doing what they do from a place of fear? Or are they doing what they're doing from a place of inspiration? So, maybe in the comments section below, just so I can get a sense of where you're coming from, what inspires you? What inspires you on your healing journey? What inspires you to want to eat well, take care of yourself, to be the best that you can be? While you're doing that, what I want to say, and by the way, thanks for the kind words, Susan, much appreciated. So here's my father. He now has a heart attack. He's recovering, and he probably lived from there on for about another year. And when he passed on, I would say, and the brain tumor grew back. Isn't that fascinating? It grew back to the same size, in the exact same place, even though it had completely disappeared. The body's a mystery. Let's just own that. If we knew what to do, if we knew how to fix all this stuff, if we knew how to fix cancer, we would do it. But there's this profound mystery, and sometimes when there's a mystery with a capital M, we have to respect it. We just have to respect it. We have to humble ourselves. Stacy said, the universe meant for me to watch this. Thank you. That's so sweet. This is a conversation to me that matters. Michael says, what inspires me so I can share my love and light to as many people on this planet. Good for you, my friend. Life is short. Life is short. When my dad was dying, he passed on at age, 58, 59. I remember he said to me, this was a few days before he died, he said, this is the tritest thing I will ever say to you, but it's actually the most important thing I'm going to ever say. He said, I think I've lived my life not smelling the roses. And it was such a poignant, bittersweet thing for him to say. And it really got into my bones, and it got into my skin. It got inside me, because I felt like my father is giving me such a powerful teaching right now. Anne says, fulfilling the purpose that I was sent here to accomplish. Good for you. I believe we're sent here with a purpose, with a potential. We're seeded. We have a genetic potential. We have a personal potential. There's another one I wanted to make sure. Joy Ross said, EPCC has taught me to relax into the journey wherever it takes me. So thank you for saying that, Joy. EPCC is our eating psychology coach certification training. And, even though it's a professional training where you are learning how to help others when it comes to weight and body image and overeating and binge eating and emotional eating and common health problems that have a nutritional and emotional component such as digestive, immunity, fatigue, and more. So we really teach our students that embrace your journey, relax into the journey, help your client do that. And by the way, when you're learning how to help a client do that, you end up helping yourself do that. It's impossible to really help others without helping ourselves. That's why I love the field of coaching and counseling so much, because after a session, I come away enlightened. I come away feeling good. Kathleen says, being able to heal the past and find the gifts from the traumas and help others to do the same, growing self-love with others to be the best version of self, that's what motivates me. Good for you. You mentioned the word trauma and being able to heal the past and find the gifts from the trauma. So many of us, we haven't had it easy. Life is not always a piece of cake for us, and we're coming into our adulthood with traumas from the past, whatever they are, personal, emotional, physical, sexual traumas, weren't raised in the best way, weren't treated in the best way. And when we can start to transform those by owning them, by sharing them, by relaxing into them, something beautiful happens. So do me a favor, more inspirations. If you're here, if you're listening, if this is inspiring you in any way, shape, or form, share in the comments section below. What's inspiring you about being here, about your journey? And I just want to scroll through because there's a few more people saying a few more things. Jenny Richards, thanks for sharing. I'm inspired to be a mirror for others, to show them that life is nothing but story. And I know you mean something good by story, that the meaning we give life, we give life will transform into our life experiences. When we create stories about self and about food, we create the life we lead. Good for you, because it's what we're telling ourselves. It's the story we have internally that often lives out into the external. These are such sweet sharings. Thank you so much. Very, very meaningful for me. Tracy says, love or fear? I choose love. That kind of zings right to the heart of it, Tracy. Oftentimes we have a choice. We have a choice every day as parents. We have a choice as partners. We have a choice as friends. We have a choice as humans. Whatever you're doing, how many times during the day am I faced with the choice of choosing love? And love can mean acceptance. Love can mean presence. Love can mean kindness. Sometimes it could be tough love. Sometimes it could be sweet love. But choosing love in terms of how to react to a person or a situation, or choosing fear. Fear could often mean attack, because we'll attack out of fear. Fear can mean running away. Fear can mean shutting down and closing down our voice and closing down our throat. Burjeet says, desire to feel better as well as fear to be bigger than I want to be. I wish I could always be in a relaxed place regarding nourishment and food. Burjeet, I'm gonna pick up on something you just said. I wish I could always be in a relaxed place regarding nourishment and food. I would love to use language for just a moment and see if we can take that and spin it just a little, because I'm with you. So I want to be there too. But I also know that the best eaters that I know, the smartest people, the coolest people, are not always in a relaxed place when it comes to nourishment and food, because we're not always relaxed. There's a lot of nonsense going on in our world. You got to deal with stuff. Things happen. Stressors that are out of our control happen. So the reframe is here. And even when I'm not in a relaxed place around nourishment and food, that I can empower myself to go there. So remember, you can put yourself in that place. So instead of saying, oh my God, I'm not in a relaxed place with nourishment and food, I'm terrible, this is no good, I'm going into old patterns, you put that aside and say, oh my goodness, observation, not in a relaxed place. How do you breathe into the moment? How do you relax? A lot of times it is just long, slow, deep breathing. It is a minute of just silent meditation. Allison, let me see what Miss Allison has to say. She said, I did this amazing training. Oh, that's so sweet. Personally and professionally transformational. A year on, and I'm loving working with my clients on a deeper level because of this teaching. Miss Allison, I so appreciate that. Oh, yes, thank you for reminding me. Emily Rosen, our director here at the Institute for the Psychology of Eating. Yeah, so Emily's the one who's speaking in the comments. Thank you so much, Emily. And she is wonderful about keeping me on track because I'm not always on track. Go figure. I wanted to remind you, for those of you tuning in who are interested in our eating psychology and mind-body nutrition certification training, it's an 8-month online distance learning training. Take it from anywhere in the world. Application deadline closes Friday. So in a handful of days. So if you're interested, now is the time to apply for that training.
Yep.
And
I would love, we have like 5 more minutes, so there's a couple questions, but you want to let them know about our Facebook Live on Tuesday?
Oh, yes. Thank you for reminding me of that. I really appreciate that. So Emily and I, so that voice that you hear has a lot of interesting things to say. So we're going to be in a conversation this Tuesday on Facebook Live, 5 p.m. East Coast time, Eastern Standard Time, USA Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be on a Facebook Live session, and the conversation is going to be about getting the best out of the online universe. It's going to be an interesting conversation because we love the online universe, and we love to use the online universe in the best way possible. So we're going to share some of what we know, some of what you've told us, and just have a great conversation around that.
I want to have you answer this question. So my 27-year-old son has gained over 200 pounds in 2 years. He's now over 400 pounds. I don't know how to help inspire him. It breaks my heart. I'm wondering if you can offer some wisdom.
So a mom is sharing about her son who is gaining a heck of a lot of weight. I don't know how to inspire him. I don't know how to help. And I'm going to agree with you that you don't. That's a big challenge. So my first urging is I want you to get professional help because sometimes we need it. Sometimes these things are out of our scope, out of our understanding. And what I do want to say is this. I want you to know, and I want you to be really clear that technically there's nothing wrong with your son. This is his response. This is his body's response to the world around him. Now, what I want to say first is you must make sure that you get him tested for any kind of thyroid issue, for any kind of insulin resistance or metabolic syndrome. So I want to make sure that he goes to a doctor, he goes to an internist, so we can rule out issues that are metabolic in origin. Next, what I want you to do is I want you to start to let him know that you stand behind him, that you are on this journey with him, and that you want him to be the best possible version of him. You want to help him get where he really wants to go. And you're going to stand by him as long as it takes. Because what he needs to know at the end of the day is that he is loved and that you are standing by him. Right now, he doesn't know how to be in his body. He doesn't. He doesn't know how to manage, most likely, if it's not an organic issue, if it's not a metabolic issue, he doesn't know how to manage his life experience. And when we don't know how to do that, one of the ways we manage that is we turn to food. Because food helps us regulate our emotions. Feel bad, eat food, feel better. But it's temporary and it's not always the right solution to our problems. So this is a deep one, and I'm sure there is so much there. But for you as his mother, and I know it's hard for you. I know it's hard for you. I'm a father. I know when our children go through their troubles, it gets right to the core of our heart. So all I want to say is you have to keep expanding your heart. You have to stand by him. You have to let him know you stand by him. And I want you to reach out to help, to get extra help. Next question.
I think that's it. Someone mentioned that the podcast is really helpful to kind of hear about how you work with people. So I think just mentioning that we have it.
Oh, thank you. We have a great podcast on iTunes, and it is called the Psychology of Eating Podcast.
Yes.
So go to iTunes, look up Psychology of Eating Podcast, and you'll see a couple of different things. In a number of those podcasts, what you'll see is Emily Rosen doing usually about 5-minute clips of great information about, some of the concepts that we teach around nutrition, mind-body nutrition, eating psychology, health, personal development. And what I do is I do live client sessions. So they're recorded, but they're recorded live. So I do live client sessions, and they're essentially one-time sessions. So I take everything I know as best I can to help that person. And they have all kinds of challenges. Clients in the podcast session come in with all kinds of interesting challenges: weight, body image, overeating, binge eating, digestion, chronic dieting for 30, 40, 50 years. And we try to have a breakthrough. We try to move each other forward. I try to move that person forward so they can really see something different, get something different, and have a new avenue to help themselves.
So for those of you who are asking for a coach because you want someone to work with or because you want to learn more about the certification training, email us at info@psychologyofeating.com. And if you could say that again, that'd be super helpful.
Yes, thank you for reminding me, Emily. So if you're interested in our certification training and you need more information, email us at info@psychologyofeating.com. If you would like to find an eating psychology coach who can help you with your challenge or the challenges of one of your friends, family, or loved one, you can also email us at info@psychologyofeating.com.
And I know there's people like Kathleen here. If you are an eating psychology coach, you can go ahead and comment and say, I am a certified eating psychology coach, and people can connect with you in the comments here.
So Emily was just mentioning, if you're an eating psychology coach and you're on this Facebook Live, identify yourself, raise your hand, say, hey, I'm an eating psychology coach. Feel free to reach out to me. Our coaches are, I'm going to tell you, they're passionate. They love the work that they do. They care. That's a big thing. We really care. This work is about care. It's not just about do this, do that, eat this, don't eat that, because you can tell people what to eat. You can tell them what to do. It doesn't mean they're going to do that. You and I, you know this, we're human beings, and we are impacted by our emotions, our feelings, our life, our relationships, our challenges, our stresses, our triumphs, all of it. It all factors into our life. So to help somebody really transform a particular eating challenge and oftentimes a particular health challenge, we have to sometimes dive a little bit deeper. Yes, Kayla's raising her hand. Kathleen's raising her hand. Thank you for doing that. Susan as well. Thank you, Susan. So Linnea just joined in. Thanks for being here. Hey, Callie. She's also an eating psychology coach in Austin, Texas. We love Austin, Texas. What a great place. Makes Texas great. Miss Emily, anything else that I need to remind our tribe of?
Nope. I think we're good. Yeah.
So, my friends, I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us. I want to say one more reminder for those of you who just dropped in. You can see this video after I finish. You could see this once again on Facebook. And if you know anybody who might be interested in this, please share it with them. Once again, in a handful of days, we are closing enrollment for the Eating Psychology Coach Certification Training. So if you're interested in applying, now's the time to do that. If you have any questions, email us, info@psychologyofeating.com. And Tuesday, 5 p.m., East Coast time, USA, a Facebook Live with myself and Emily Rosen, director of the Institute. We're going to be talking about getting the best out of the online universe. And I just want to close by saying, you know, we started out talking about story, and your story matters. Your journey matters. It is everything you have, and it's learning. It's you. It's all of us, learning to love our story, even the hard parts of it, and to see it as the beautiful soil, the richness, the nutrition, the fertilizer for our growth. That's what it is. If we can really extract what we need from our journey, get rid of what we don't need from that journey, that's how we heal. That's how we grow. I love you guys. Thank you for being part of this community, and I look forward to seeing you real soon. Take care.